It's time to talk about the times because we are men of the times, and oh, is there quite a lot to discuss. So let's get into it. All right, welcome back to Men of the Times, everyone. We're happy that you're here. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you. We have quite a list of topics of things we're discussing on this episode, episode 3. We have the normal crew here. It's me, Justin. Hello. And then obviously to my left, your right, good old British tea. Hello. It sounds like something you actually would drink. British tea.
I actually despise tea. I'm much more of a coffee person myself, but thank
Wow.
you very much.
Very American.
Playing into national stereotypes, I'll go along with it.
Would you like to drink some British tea?
From India, perhaps.
Yes,
but...
from India. I do like tea. Tea's very nice. I like the Earl Grey. I like the green, the mint.
Earl Grey. Actually, that is some good old Yorkshire tea. Good old Yorkshire tea.
Yeah. You're a classy gent. There you go.
Absolutely.
Very good. Oh, we got teas, we got the crew, and then of course we also have with us today as well our man in the corner, Discount Jamie. Hello, Discount Jamie.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Discount Jamie. How are you?
The random voice in the corner.
Yeah.
Better every day.
Should we plug your thing?
Better not.
Okay, all right.
There's a certain cryptocurrency that I'm very long right now. It would be irresponsible of me to recommend that anybody buy it, and
we should for those purposes. It probably makes sense to not mention it, but it's quite hilarious.
And I've made so much fucking money on it.
Yay, capitalism!
Yay! The system works.
For the few.
I don't care.
You 1%? How dare you?
You and your elite class.
Yeah, fucking hell, Mike. Fucking hell. Hey, fucking over here, getting all the money. What are we doing here? Working in the I'm not wearing a blue collar today. I'm wearing my undies shirt, you know? Fucking hell. That's supposed to be what you're saying. You're the British one.
Okay.
It's okay. No, it's alright. Just fuck with you.
Just play into the class warfare.
Yeah, of course. That's American. Or communist. Anyway, we got a lot of things. Here's what we're talking about. So we're gonna. Oh man, I saw this. I've seen several people review this, and I thought we had to do it because it just seems like such a cultural clash of titans. So we're gonna review the interview or it's classified as an interview, but it seems more like a debate type format. So we got Taylor Lorenz versus the Libs of TikTok girl, who she
chick.
Who Taylor Lorenz doxed.
Yeah, that's how this all started, wasn't it?
Yeah, of
she
course. That's how it
doxed her
started.
originally.
The Libs of TikTok just posted videos. That's it. And not even commentary videos like most people do. Just posted videos of crazy people, and I will say that they're crazy people.
Just doing their crazy shit.
Yeah, posting their crazy videos online, and then she was just like, "Here you go." And then apparently that you can't do that because it was, taboo to show these people doing that. So so then Taylor Lorenz showed up. Are you proud of yourself? I just told everybody. Like, I thought that was illegal. You even could dox people. I guess it's not technically illegal, but it's like one of those things where it's shunned. It's frowned upon to dox.
It was by old school journalistic standards, but those standards have clearly don't exist anymore.
Yeah, everyone is. I mean, so many people, even people that don't deserve it, are getting doxxed. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Slate Star Codex.
No.
You ever heard of that?
No.
So Slate Star Codex, now Astral Codex Star, Astral something, some anagram of the letters. So it was an extremely insightful blog that covered like a huge number of topics: economics, politics, philosophy. It was really great. Everybody should check it out. Honestly, extremely well written, thoughtful, long form pieces, and he became very popular. Or his writing did. He was a psychiatrist based out of California. And for obvious reasons, he didn't want his full name and identity out there, even though it was one of those things where I think some people were sort of able to figure it out if
Right.
you already knew him or were
What
close
was
to
it?
him in
What was
some way.
it?
Right.
What was it
The
called?
Slate Star Codex was the original thing. The new name is
Something stars and astros
Astral
and hashtags.
something, whatever.
Star
But no,
symbols.
there was going to be an article written about him in his blog by someone from a big paper. It may have been the Times, may have been the Washington Post, something on that level. And they figured out who he was, and they went to him and they're like, "Hey, like we want to like do a story about you because like this is interesting." And he was like, "Well, you like please don't dox me." And the journalist was like, "Too bad." Yeah,
All right.
They were like, "This is important for my story. Too bad."
So yeah. So
Yeah.
too bad.
Let me
Sunshine?
look this up. The details.
Yes, please. So we're going to be reviewing that. We're also going to be reviewing Shane Gillis and his monologue on SNL. Now, I have read many articles about this. It's very interesting, the contrast.
Have you seen it yet?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well-
we'll review that and give our thoughts on that. It is quite a story.
It's a sign of what I feel could be an important cultural change. And I hope
I just think it's about money.
I hope it continues.
He's blowing up. It's just a money play.
Well, I mean, but again, capitalism works. The money is forcing the change that they might not necessarily
potentially.
want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So lots to get into. Let's begin with the ultimate battle. Ding ding battle royale. Taylor Lorenz, fake journalist, not real journalist, against Libs of TikTok, person who posts videos of weird people doing weird things in your schools. Ding 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 in the blue corner. Taking up the woke liberal left progressive side, Taylor Lorenz, wearing her yarmulke mask, which I say because I think both of them are Jewish, aren't they? No, Taylor Lorenz isn't Jewish, but the Libs of TikTok chick is definitely Jewish.
Chick? I have no idea.
Oh my god! I heard somebody make that
so.
joke.
I don't
guess
know.
would be yes,
but that's
I
the
don't
thing.
know.
Like people don't even like Taylor Lorenz won't even reveal what her age is.
Yeah,
no one knows how old she actually is.
Late 30s, early 40s is guessed.
Which is, I'm guessing, like millennial who hasn't grown up.
Yeah, but yeah, she just wants to be relevant and is not relevant. But in the red corner, the ultimate meme posting meme to show how memes the memes are. I don't know. I ran out of juice. Yes, it is the Libs of TikTok lady. Ding ding ding. Yeah. So we got Battle Royale. So let's
the Destroyer Ray chick.
Dude, I was listening to some of this. I was watching some other people review this, and I have to say, like, this is the dumbest interview
you've ever seen.
It's ridiculous how bad this is, but also how hilariously awesome it is. So, yeah, we gotta watch.
Okay.
First of all, I saw Seth Dillon today saying that you guys are no longer affiliated. What happened with there? I know that he invested in you early, was a huge supporter of you. What happened to that relationship?
Just parted ways.
For what reason?
Personal reasons.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What? You didn't align
Totally amicable. I love Seth.
Yeah.
He's a great mentor.
So why wouldn't you want him involved, or, why isn't he involved in the business anymore?
Just personal reasons. I'm not going to get into it.
Oh, okay. When did that sort of break off?
Recently.
Uh-huh. So how many staffers? Tell me a little bit more about your organization.
We are a small team, just a couple people.
And it's all distributed?
It's what?
It's all distributed, as in it's all remote, pretty much? Or do you guys do you have any office space?
It's remote, yeah.
Got it. So when did you start, I guess, what got you into all this? I've always wanted to ask you. I know, I wrote about sort of the history of your Twitter account, but how did you get involved in politics?
If you watch any of my interviews, I talk about this all the time. But just, COVID radicalized me.
First of all, I just love that, number one, that's why I said face yarmulke, because she's still wearing she's out fucking. Who are you trying to impress, lady?
Yeah,
like,
that's weird, especially from
fuck?
someone of her like political leanings to wear an N95
outdoors.
That's Taylor Lorenz. Real world. if you see two ladies sitting at a coffee shop having coffee, and one is wearing an N95 mask and the other is not, which one do you think is probably the progressive?
The masked lady.
Yeah. So it's that's
Okay.
obvious. That
Yeah,
that
that is-
is.
For some reason, I thought Higher A chick had dark hair. I don't know why I thought that.
They both do.
They both. You're
They're
gonna
both brunettes.
the more we watch this, the more you're gonna
Yeah.
just basically think it's the same person in a mirror, and it's like you know that cartoon Opposite World,
Uh-huh.
where it's like Superman and the
Yeah.
Justice League, and then it's like the opposite of
yeah.
them, and they're all. That's what like this would be. I don't know who would be the regular world and who would be the opposite world necessarily. Probably Taylor Lorenz is the regular people because we're all woke now. Woo, woke. But
Well, they're the ones
yeah.
who have the power.
I mean, they talk the same. It's
Yeah.
like they're the same person. They're just on the little opposite side of one another.
That's super interesting.
It's crazy. I was listening. It's nut bars. It's nuts. But yeah. So yeah, and then Libs of TikTok lady is wearing a shirt of Taylor Lorenz crying in full
Yeah,
meltdown mode.
yeah,
She was all upset
yeah.
because people were saying hurtful things.
And this was okay. So the pretext. Okay, so after Taylor Lorenz doxed High Ray chick, Libs of TikTok lady, she then went on a full-on interview with one of the big networks about how dangerous it is to be a journalist in modern America. And she
Ridiculous.
started crying about the threats to her safety that she had received, like completely and utterly oblivious to the absolute danger she put High Ray chick in by doxing her just out of the blue. And it was just that complete and utter lack of, like, how do you put it? Lack of
A lack of clarity, lack of sense, lack of decency,
well, yeah, just like lack of perspective. Like just this absolute.
Let's just on the record just say she lacks a lot.
Yes, she clearly does.
And yet
But
somehow she's still successful in some weird way that we define success in this country.
because she pushes a specific ideology and agenda.
Oh, it's
that
so
is
annoying.
that is why.
Let's
she's
just continue the
Yeah.
Did you grow up? I know you grew up in a sort of a more conservative community. Did you know any LGBTQ people growing up? What was your exposure to that community just in life prior to sort of understanding the world through politics?
I never really paid attention to it.
So you didn't have any LGBTQ friends or anything,
No.
family members?
No.
So your first exposure to the LGBTQ world was through basically learning about it through the media ecosystem?
Through themselves, actually. They would say exactly what their intentions are, what their whole movement is about.
Uh-huh.
So I learned about it through watching their own videos.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What sort of videos were you watching? I mean, are you just
All
talking
the
about the TikToks that you share and stuff?
And tons more on TikTok. It's all over TikTok.
Yeah.
Very easy to find.
Yeah. I'm curious, I feel like there's been, especially on, my colleagues have done great reporting on sort of like this rift on Twitter. I know that you have a very conservative fan base, and in your comments sometimes you'll see a lot of commentary about sort of the great replacement theory. What are your thoughts on that?
What are your thoughts on the comments on your post telling me to kill myself?
Horrible. Yeah,
Yeah.
horrible. Obviously against that. Yeah.
So will you come out and condemn that publicly?
Oh, I would condemn it any time. I'm against murdering anyone, of course.
So you're against death threats against me?
I'm a big, as somebody that's dealt with a lot of online harassment, I don't defend threatening to murder anyone. But I guess I'm curious,
Because a lot of times it comes after an attack in the media, like someone like you or another journalist.
So are you saying that, if somebody posts something and then attacks follow, that person should answer for those attacks?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm saying that people like you tell me that all the time, so I'm just asking if you think the same thing.
Yeah, I don't think I have said that here, but I think it's kind of interesting, I guess, in the conservative movement, there's this ideology around sort of white nationalism, which is obviously kind of a hardline ideology that's generally been pretty critical of Jewish communities. And I'm wondering, as a Jewish woman, how do you feel about sort of aligning yourself with those people and accounts. You see this sort of rhetoric in your replies, and I only bring it up. I'm not saying that you necessarily endorse that rhetoric. I would imagine that you don't. But how do you kind of think about those nuances when you're thinking about kind of the audience that you're building?
Some of your audience says we should chop off kids' body parts. What do you think about that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like a girl says she wants to be a boy, so she chops off her breasts.
I'm a big, I believe in personal liberty and bodily autonomy personally.
So kids should be able to cut off their breasts if they think that they're boys.
I mean, I believe in gender ideology. I guess I personally, my feeling is that I believe in personal liberty. I grew up in a town where a lot of people, for their middle school graduation, women got nose jobs. I knew somebody that got a boob job at age 14. And I guess I struggle to kind of understand the criticism when there's certainly no criticism of that sort of thing, right? But then there's criticism of this other sort of gender affirming, stuff. So
you're comparing a boy being allowed to chop off his penis to a teenage girl getting a nose job?
Well, just to be extra clear, I don't believe that 13-year-olds are able to make those sort of medical decisions.
Minors are, yeah.
Oh, really? And where?
Yeah. Children's National Hospital in D.C. gives 16-year-olds hysterectomies.
Oh, 16-year-olds.
They gave me that. They told me that directly. They said 16 girls and younger. That's what they said. So hysterectomies. There are definitely minors. I know for sure as young as 12 who are getting double mastectomies. They definitely allow vaginoplasties for minors and phalloplasties. I'm not aware of a specific case of a minor, but they allow 18-year-olds.
Yeah, which has, okay, 18-year-olds, you're an adult. But let's
just to confirm, hysterectomies, or is that when they take out their uterus and womb?
Yes.
Correct.
Before they've even had a chance to bear a child.
Right.
Not based on a medical necessity like cancer, on the whims of a 16-year-old.
Well,
it's a weird procedure for a 16-year-old to have for like gender reasons, because it's like a hysterectomy. That's a major surgery.
Yeah,
Right.
I can
But
imagine.
it's
I
like
can imagine.
the point of a hysterectomy is not to turn you into a guy. The point of a hysterectomy is to remove all of those organs. It's usually done if it's like cancer risk and like stuff like that, right?
Normally.
But like it seems weird to me that like a 16-year-old that is having like gender dysmorphia would have a hysterectomy and not full bottom surgery. Like, why do the
Yeah.
hysterectomy if
Right.
you're just leaving everything else in place?
Well, everything in phases.
I
all right.
guess.
All right.
Well,
discount
and
Jamie.
depends.
You can't do it all at once. Some people, they need to.
But all the
phase it out.
hysterectomy is going to do for a 16-year-old, it's not going to change anything about her other than prevent her from having children, A, and B, like give
Don't
her,
assume.
like, a
Don't assume.
non-trivial star.
Don't assume with the gender discount, Jamie.
Oh, you're right.
Okay.
You're right. I'm
Let's
sorry.
not be. Hey. Let's be fair to the
I'll self-flagellate.
fictitious
before I go to
person.
sleep
Yeah.
tonight.
This
See-
fictitious person we just created for this scenario. Let's be respectful to them.
See
okay?
what angers me about this, and this was revealed in a lot of Matt Walsh's investigation into hospitals down in Tennessee, and even in Tennessee they're doing this. Okay, is that a lot of the hospitals and the insurance companies are pushing this because they know that once you are in these surgeries, you're going to be relying on medical care for the rest of your life.
Of
That's
course.
true.
Yeah.
So they just see you as a lifelong
Dude.
income.
Yeah. Everything's a hello. What country do we live in?
The United States.
Okay. And yeah, of course. We care about money. Like this is a huge dude. This is a whole thing like a BlackRock conspiracy. Who's the guy who runs BlackRock? Everybody says discount Jamie. Who runs BlackRock?
Larry
forgot.
Fink.
Larry Fink. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Everybody just kind of assumes that Larry Fink is
Yeah,
really the
Larry
guy who's running the country.
Okay,
And-
so I think
And they invest in
You
all
see,
these pharmaceutical companies.
I'd be careful there because I've listened to plenty of interviews and read articles about people who know Larry Fink. Larry Fink is actually quite a reasonable guy, similar to Jamie Dimon at Chase. The difference is what's really happening is they're hiring a lot of these young millennial Gen Zers from these Ivy League schools and business schools that have been completely indoctrinated in a lot of this crap.
It's at least once an episode that he eventually brings
So-
up this point.
But that's the main. So they're just sitting there,
Dude,
making their money and trusting these young kids who have not been taught how to be successful in business, but have been indoctrinated. And that's the real heart of why
I mean, going
a
to
lot of our
business school is a little different
corporations-
than just getting your.
Yeah, but that's the point.
your
Even
bachelor's.
even at business schools, they're not teaching them.
100%.
They're
You don't
not
learn.
teaching them to make
You don't
money.
learn anything in business school.
No,
business
Not
school.
really. It's all
They're
about
just
connections.
You get
indoctrinating them in
connections.
this
You go on
crap.
vacations.
Yeah.
I mean, I do need to make a comment about, a lot of people say like, oh, like BlackRock runs the world, Vanguard runs the world, da 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 da. And if you look at the percentage of certain companies that are owned by BlackRock and Vanguard and their ilk, it does seem really high, but those numbers are deceptive because those shares are owned by ETFs or mutual funds that are managed by BlackRock or Vanguard or whoever. And these funds are managed in a like almost purely systematic and programmatic way. Like, how do I explain this really simply? Like, there's concrete rules as to which companies are in the funds and at what sizes.
Mm,
It's not like
right.
BlackRock is going to place.
They're just
like,
gonna go
hey,
buy
like,
up everything.
well, it's not like the real estate stuff is a slightly separate thing.
Yeah.
But when we're just talking about the companies, like BlackRock is not going to Disney and telling them, "Hey, be more woke, or we're going to drop you from XYZ."
Right.
That's not how it
right,
works.
Right.
They don't really have real impact or say in these companies. Now, there are specific DEI ETFs and mutual funds that have this as a characteristic, but even there, it's like, and companies will like juke the stats, so to speak, to get higher scores in these categories. Like I think bizarrely, like ExxonMobil has like a really high rating for like environmental on the ESG thing.
Of course they do.
Yeah, because
of the
they
biggest-
Of course.
Correct
And
me
it's
if
easy to manipulate stats.
correct me if I'm wrong. Is ExxonMobil one of the biggest oil companies?
Energy, yeah.
Yeah.
Energy.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's
okay.
please let's use the right terminology. Energy,
Energy.
not
Yeah.
just
It's
oil.
the energy sector.
It's
Well,
an
oil
energy.
obviously, yeah.
Right.
But
No. Let's be. It's energy. You see. It's
okay.
energy.
Okay.
Yeah, not just oil.
it's it's a little more complicated than like people make it out to be. Now,
Of course.
where the DEI stuff has a bigger impact is in massive discretionary funds. This would be like a teachers union pension fund or a government pension fund or something like that.
Right.
Now, the teachers union pension fund, which controls, I mean, there's many teachers union pension funds over the U.S., but like they control massive amounts, or school, Harvard endowment, Princeton endowment, Brown endowment, et cetera, right? These are companies these are funds, not companies, that will really care about this kind of DEI criteria. And these are the places that are going to go to a Disney or a whoever, a Salesforce, and say, hey, our mandate from our constituents is to make money, yes, but we got to do it the right way. We got to do DEI. We got to do ESG. We got to do a bunch of bullshit that that doesn't make any money, right? So they'll go to Disney and say, hey, like, you got to push this, you got to push this, you got to push this, or else we have to pull our money. Those are the people that are pushing DEI. It's not the BlackRocks and the State Streets and the Vanguards of the world,
Right. Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does.
Yeah.
It does. It does. All right.
Mm.
Back to Screaming Ladies.
So, just back to the sort of education stuff, I know that you're interested in removing a bunch of books from libraries that you consider inappropriate. I was just wondering, out of all the books that you've sort of tried to get removed, how many have you read?
I've read a couple of them.
Which ones?
Genderqueer. I've read This Book is Gay. I've read Flamer. I've read, what were some of the other ones? My Shadow is Pink. It Feels Good to Be Yourself. There's so many more. Tons of them.
How do you kind of square, would you say, I feel like you are, or at least I feel like you've spoken about free speech before and the need for free speech and sort of supported Elon Musk's sentiments in that area. Would you say that you're a free speech supporter?
Yeah.
So how do you square the sort of being this free speech supporter with wanting to ban literature?
What kind of literature?
Any kind of literature. I mean, I would think that
What
if
kind of
you're-
literature am I trying to ban?
Oh, I thought you were just trying to say you're that you have, I mean, you've made an effort to get books removed from schools.
What kind of books?
Books dealing with LGBTQ people and sexual
No, that's
education.
not what I said.
Oh, so you're not trying to get any books banned from school?
That's not what I said either.
Okay, why don't you explain to me how you're thinking about this?
You just accused me of wanting to ban books. What kind of books am I trying to ban?
You tell me.
I'm not trying to ban anything.
But you're not trying to ban any books.
Who said I'm trying to ban books?
Are you trying to remove books from libraries?
From public school libraries.
Okay. So how do you square your sort of notion of free speech and free expression and allowing all of that stuff with wanting literature removed and wanting access to information removed?
What kind of literature?
You tell me.
Porn. Gay porn.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what do you consider gay porn in these books?
So you want to see it?
Are you talking about the stuff that you've tweeted, basically? You consider
Yeah,
it
like there's
inappropriate?
pictures of like blowjobs and like how to have gay sex with like naked people and people masturbating and stuff. Yeah,
Did you?
like pictures of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. And
Yeah.
I went to public school. And we had a sex ed class in public school where we were shown, information about sexual health and, sex and masturbation and things like that. I'm curious about your own education. I mean, was that something did you ever go to a sex ed class, or is this all sort of new to you where you're sort of learning about how this works in public schools?
I don't live under a rock.
So you did have sex ed classes when you were growing up?
We had some kind of education, yeah.
Uh-huh. So you do think it's important for children to have education, sex education?
Not the way they're doing it in public schools.
Uh-huh. How are they doing it?
They're giving kids porn and telling third graders that they should masturbate. They're giving middle school children guides to gay sex and anal sex, sex toys.
How would you describe the type of sex education that you would like to see in schools?
At this point, I want all sex education actually removed from schools because I don't trust the schools to do it.
Okay.
After what we've seen, I don't trust them at all. Zero. We need to completely eradicate it and then redo it in a normal way that's appropriate.
What she's doing here, to Lorenz, and I had noticed they do this trick a lot, is they keep trying to use language that conservatives or people on the right use, especially involved personal liberty, freedom of choice, against them, and then try and frame their argument around presenting what is clearly demonstrably not freedom in do you know what I'm trying to say?
She's trying to do a lot of gotchas.
Yes,
So many gotchas.
so many
Nothing but
trying to get
gotchas.
gotchas.
and she's trying to frame
the gotcha
she's trying
queen.
to frame every argument and question she presents in language that she thinks is exclusively owned by the Republican side.
Right.
If
yeah.
that makes
using
sense.
the other side's main arguments against the side. I mean, that's a pretty standard debate topic in order to try and be successful. Unfortunately, Taylor Lorenz is not only terrible at journalism but also debate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as we that's the thing. Like the more we watch of this and everything, it makes Taylor Lorenz look like a completely inept individual, even more so than she could have probably already have done with everything else that has already been going on with her. But these questions are terrible. Everything she's saying here is absolutely hilarious. And yeah, I love, so for example, like the thing about banning, and that's at least Libs of TikTok lady has done a good job of kind of reframing it, because like you can, first of all, just because you do not want a book in a school or in a public school system doesn't mean you're banning it. You're not going to,
Yeah.
she's not going to prevent private citizens from, if they want to purchase the book and teach it to their kids. She's not advocating for that. What she's saying is these things shouldn't be in public schools for young children to have free access to that tax dollars that are paying for these schools.
Yes.
That's the argument.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want to have books that have active pictures of pornography
In
and
public schools.
any variety, by the way, in public schools. And then Taylor Lorenz will, and maybe we'll watch a little bit more of this, but as we talk about she's talking about the sex ed class and everything, I find it really hilarious because sex education didn't have, I don't know about you guys, but any sex education that I had, I remember there was a couple classes in middle school, whatever we had about it. There was not just pictures and recreations of people doing
The
sex.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
sex
Right?
ed
It
didn't
was
have
like, here's
porn.
what the
No.
the
Here's
penis
what a
looks like.
penis
Here's
is.
what
Here's
the
a
vagina,
vagina
the
is.
female
Here's how
organs are.
sex works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here's how it works, and here's what will occur.
Mhm.
And they show you like the actual innards, so that as a kid, hopefully you're like, ew, gross.
yeah.
And you don't want to do it.
I remember those
That's my
days.
insides. It's
And-
nasty. Ew.
and yeah, and
Girls
no
have
one-
It's like-
cooties.
It's,
no one
it's a
could, everyone
clinical.
just couldn't stop
Sex
laughing.
ed is my sex ed was very clinical, and I think that sex ed should be clinical.
Yeah,
Like, no
of
one should be
course.
getting hard during sex ed.
No.
The waterfalls should not be overflowing during sex education class.
Oh my god, that's
No,
not.
never in a sex education class should a girl look at a boy and go, "Hey, this looks fun.
Yeah.
Let's try it right now.
And
You
that's
know,
not
let's
to
go
say-
to the
it's not-
bathroom real quick."
And that's not to say that sex ed should be like
which bathroom?
discouraging
Which bathroom?
sex. Yeah, and that's not to say that sex ed should be discouraging sex, but it shouldn't be like, who wants to go jack off in the corner?
Yeah, I know. It should just be okay. These are the parts. This is what they do. This is how the
It's like-
changes are going to start.
It's like
clinical. No.
it's like Lego instructions. You know,
Yeah.
Here's where the Legos
Basically.
go, and then eventually you have a thing that you've built.
Just like-
And I think that what gets overlooked about sex ed a lot is the purpose of sex ed is not to explain to kids that like this is how sex works. Like everyone figures that out in absence of sex ed.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
The
course.
purpose of sex ed, the real value that comes from it and why it's important is it teaches kids about puberty and the changes
Right,
that they're going to
yeah.
go through.
yeah.
Right? And that gets really, really overlooked,
Lost.
right?
Yeah.
It
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
that's
exactly.
that's the critical part. And the other thing that gets overlooked about this like removing gay porn from libraries thing is liberals are like, oh well, what does it hurt if it's just there? It's like, every school time is limited, right? Every book
Yes.
that kids read in school with their teachers
Yes.
is replacing another
Very,
book.
Very
Yeah.
good.
So they're basically
point.
saying like, this book on like how to jack off your buddy is like this is more important than learning like math.
your fraction
Yeah.
tables,
Yeah.
your multiplication
Right.
tables and things. Yes.
We can advance you kids like another level of math. We can teach you about basic finance, basic economics, some other
Uh-huh.
like elective-y type thing, or we can teach you about gay porn.
We can talk about how your naughty bits work.
We can bring in a 50-year-old dude dressed like a schoolgirl,
Oh, man.
and he can
Oh, it's
read
getting
you
grotesque.
like I don't know, like Catcher in the Rye, maybe.
You mean caught it in the eye? I think that's the origins of pink eye. Caught it in the eye.
Gross.
He can
Why is this
regale
hairy
you of-
man telling me these things?
He can regale you of tales from the disco bathroom in the 70s. When I was your age, I can't even get it out.
That's what he said. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Why is it? You know what's funny is it's going to be like a 50-year-old.
I blew a rail off Freddie Mercury's dick. It was the highlight of my life.
Oh god. I just wanted to read Shakespeare.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Meanwhile, the kindergarten teacher's applauding.
Yeah. Also, it of course would be like a hairy man that also has like a very high pitched, effeminate voice. teaching
Yeah,
it, you know what I mean?
absolutely.
Hi, have you seen the video of that creepy guy, that trans guy who like does tons of videos and always talks to kids? Have you seen videos of this
Oh,
dude?
is it that you will respect us?
Yeah, that fucking
Oh,
guy, or
that-
person.
that guy.
That
Right,
person.
okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
gross.
Dude,
Yeah,
that person. That would be the person, and that's who the Libs of TikTok person basically exposes. It
Right,
just
yes.
all she does
She
is
was
just
the first
post
one to
videos.
cover him.
Look, if you don't want these videos exposed and everybody finding out, don't fucking post the stupid videos, you idiots. I mean, it should be pretty self-explanatory.
Can I?
There's like a pride that they have posting these videos. Look what I did in my classroom today. Pride flags everywhere. I can't wait to teach your kids about gay sex. It's like,
Yeah,
what
and
happened? You
pronouns,
turn into
yeah.
the Wicked Witch of the West?
Yeah, I know.
What are you gonna get on your broomstick and fly away?
And
What's going on
and
here?
you see them, and you're just like, you are going nowhere near my child.
Yeah, of course. And they go,
When I ever have
That's so
children, you
unfair.
are not going anywhere near them.
I lost my job. I don't freaking capitalism is so terrible. It's like, no, you're just a psycho, and you probably need help.
Yeah.
And you're trying to indoctrinate my kids. Go fuck yourself.
I'd just like to make one point, right? To consume pornography, there is a legal age limit to it, isn't there? Do you have to be 18?
I think like maybe theoretically, but no one pays attention to that.
Nobody.
Well, with the internet,
Dude,
obviously.
Dude, do you
Yeah.
remember back in the day, the Girls Gone Wild commercials?
Oh,
Do
I
you
love
remember
those
those?
commercials.
No.
You know them.
Yeah.
It would be.
I
It was
wasn't
this.
living here then.
It was.
Probably.
It was this thing where this guy had this. They came to Northern Illinois University, which is where I went, and I was
Did
just
they
like,
really?
yeah, I know. I was just as freaked out about it. I was like they came here? I was like, why? These are not the girls you want on your show, dude. I mean, they're desperate enough probably to do it, but go on. Go somewhere more exciting. But yeah, so it was just this guy, and they drove around the country, and they went to college campuses, and they would just bring girls into the bus or just go to like bars, college bars, and they would be like, "Show us your tits," and then girls would just like flash, and then they'd bring some girls into the bus, and they would do some other things. And so when I was younger, as a young developing boy, trying to learn about sexual education, I learned it from Girls Gone Wild. I mean, like for real, come on, like most sexual education you learn just by. It's just
doing.
It was like a joke I heard. It was a comedian, Tommy Tiernan. He had this joke. He's like about how I'm not gonna do the jokes. I'll do it justice. But the general point of the joke was like a bunch of young boys going around like, yeah, you take out your willy and you put it inside her. And then the joke is like, why would you put it inside her? I would rather just drink cider. Cider's delicious. It's just like this. And at the end of the joke happens where the other boy comes in, talks more about what he learned, but he learned it from Father Murphy, and that it was like a Catholic joke. Okay. But that's really how like real sex education happens when you're a kid, right? Some friend learned something from somewhere that he shouldn't or she shouldn't have learned it from. Probably an older sibling or something else. Like the Girls Gone Wild. He goes, boys, come in here. I found out something I had to tell you about. Apparently, when your willy goes hard, you can put it inside a girl. And everybody like, whoa, why would we do that? Girls have cooties.
I still remember the first time.
Were they also like, there's this magical thing called a clitoris.
This is clitoris. Yeah. And then, whoa, what's that? Does it have magical powers?
I remember the first time that I
find it in a box of Lucky Charms.
I remember the first time that I looked up porn online. Like,
sorry,
I remember getting so nervous because my parents weren't home, but I was so excited. And I started with one Google search. I just Google searched girls. And then I got a little more courage and I searched hot girls. And then I searched hot naked girls.
Wow, testing the boundaries, my guy.
And then I saw vagina for the first time, and it blew my mind.
I'm sure that's not the only thing that blew.
Oh yeah.
And that's your sexual education.
Yeah, basically.
You find some,
you kind of fumble around and find out.
Figure it
Our
out.
dads had like nudie mags, right? Like when Playboy was actually real Playboy back in the old days. That actually was interesting. I never really had.
Actually, you know what else we had in England that
a friend of mine has a whole collection
of Playboys.
Like they're on his shelf, which is weird because they're within grabbing distance of his teenage son, like middle school son. When I'm like, maybe you should put these away. But yeah, he's just got put a ton of them. And I was looking at it, and I was like, this is how young boys used to get their sexual education. They'd be like, once you reach the middle school age where you start to hit puberty, that's when you're kind of like that. And then you see boobs, you're like, boobs. It just switches. And then you just you constantly want to see them like, all the time. And know about them or what to do with them. Do I play them like bongos? What do I do?
But
You know, it's wild.
my first recognition of like the beauty of women. I was
This got really philosophical. You
Yeah.
agree now.
Very
was
fast.
watching The Mask and Cameron Diaz in that dress. We remember you remember that scene? And I was just like,
Wait, which one?
Cameron Diaz in a dress in The Mask when she walks
Oh, in the
into
mask.
the
Yeah,
bank.
yeah.
And,
In the
yeah,
mosque.
in the mosque, and I'm
Not
just,
in the mosque. She wouldn't be able to wear a
well,
dress
whatever,
in a mosque.
but like,
The mask, you mean?
but you just-
with
you-
Jim Carrey?
yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
you saw
The
that
mosque.
scene, and in my head it was just like, I don't know what it is I'm supposed to do with you, but it is going to be glorious. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like women.
I have
Women.
this
They're wonderful.
Dude, they're
I have
just so
this
marvelous.
vivid memory of being like quite little, and me and like a couple of my close friends for one of their birthdays, like their parents took us to one of those like dirty indoor water parks, the Great Wolf Lodge or that kind of thing. Just what I'm talking
Yes, yes.
about.
Oh, is it like there's one in Michigan or Wisconsin?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of-
yeah.
yeah.
and like we had like our own room together, and we watched this movie called Autofocus, which it's not porn. It's like an R-rated movie.
Right.
But we all thought it was porn because there
Uh-huh.
were some girls without shirts in it,
Of
You-
course.
you
and
kept
we thought
replaying
we
that
were so
scene.
cool. And then there was another R-rated movie afterwards. I don't remember what it was called. But we thought we were watching more porn. And then we all showed each other our dicks, and they made fun of me because I didn't have pubic hair yet. And that's how I learned about pubic hair, as one should.
Oh, love
God.
it. I love that. That's
Puberty
wow.
is
See, now that is a coming of age tale.
This is
Yeah,
how
that's a coming
sex
of
ed
age
is
tale.
supposed to be.
just fucking figuring it out.
Yeah, just
You
figure it out.
Figure it
You know?
out. Yeah.
Nobody has a talk. Nobody this. You just watch a movie and you kind of see some boobs at one point. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
rewind. And you go to the bathroom. You get some toilet tissue. You take care of yourself and you go. You go back to the movie. You know?
Oh,
Yeah.
Sexual education. There you go.
Speaking of such things,
Not this.
you know what I miss? I feel like deep fake porn now is too good. I remember when we were little, like it was literally just like a celebrity's face cut and pasted on a porn star's body. I remember.
Is that not what deepfake AI?
No, now it's like it's better than that. But
Scary.
it's
scary,
very
actually.
Oh,
it's
who was
okay.
that TV podcaster? What was her name? That I ain't a magician or musician.
Oh,
Sukihana?
Sukihana,
no,
yeah.
is that the rapper?
Oh, Bobby Althoff.
Oh,
yeah.
that was the interview.
They just had some AI fake.
Oh, I
porn.
saw
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, okay, even though I'm sure especially for a woman, that must be awful to experience.
I mean, she
In-
played it off pretty well.
in
I
fa-
watched her.
in-
I watched
yeah.
her react to it. She's like, "Guys, that wasn't me."
Yeah,
Almost
she
as if she
nailed it
wanted it
super
to be
well.
her.
In
She nailed it.
fairness,
Perfectly.
in fairness, it was a great. It was it's not great, obviously. In fairness, I was like, you know what? Fair play, love. You're taking this in your stride. Like,
Yeah.
fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play. You're not being. You're not like you know. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like fair. I'm sure that was traumatic for her. Absolutely. You know, but she. You know. I
You know what'd
was
be really
quite- I was
crazy?
Quite impressed.
What'd be
by
really crazy is if
her
you
maturity.
do that and leak it, but then blame it on AI just to get popularity.
And that's gonna start happening.
Well, no, there was a big thing with Taylor Swift, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was a big AI deepfake porn of Taylor Swift, and apparently she's in talk of lawyers to sue Twitter. Over
Travis
it.
got pretty mad about that.
Wow.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah,
I'm sure he did.
He went on a roid rage after that.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I just won a Super Bowl for you. You know, it's just like,
I like to think that he's like. I mean, I'm sure he's like a smart enough guy, but I like to think that he's like absolutely retarded. And it took her like 6 hours to explain to him that the deep fake isn't actually her. He just like couldn't get it.
Travis, it's fake.
Travis feels
Well,
sad sometimes.
Okay, so
Travis, sad.
Like my heart has a tummy ache.
See, the weird thing about that is
Oh.
that at the time, because this was before the Super Bowl, and it was all over Twitter, but some of the images, like you could just tell, like this is obviously fake. This is obviously deep, like fake AI shit, you know. But then she said that she's got lawyers and she's looking into litigation, which is fair enough. But it was a lot of the language in her aim was at Twitter for allowing it. And I was just like, okay, are you gonna get lawyers to have a go at Twitter and cut down on free speech? Is that the Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, she's trying to target what she believes to be an easy target, i.e. Elon Musk, right?
Yeah.
or people behind her
Yeah.
who clearly want her to go after and blame.
I mean, it increases her public profile. I mean, it's a good fight for her to fight from a publicity marketing point of view.
Yeah. I mean, and she is by far the most popular woman in the world right now. It's astonishing.
So I saw you that you got banned from Stripe today. How much money did you have tied up in that platform?
I'm not going to get into that. They already restored me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're back.
Yeah.
I noticed, I think it was around last summer, you deleted a lot of your tweets and you kind of stopped posting. This is when Seth Dillon kind of tweeted, asking if you fell off or, saying that you weren't posting as you used to. What happened during that time, and did you think about quitting?
I have no idea, and no, I never thought about quitting.
Why'd you delete all your old posts?
It was just a one-time editorial decision. I stand by all my posts.
I guess speaking of deleting posts, you still have a post up accusing the Uvalde shooter of being trans. Obviously, that's been debunked.
Yeah, there's a community note on it.
So why not remove that post if you're so comfortable with removing posts?
Because there's a community note. I think it's clear. It's obviously it was unintentional. There was a watermark on it. It was from a meme, an account that was going around. And I'm glad there's a community note so people know that that was a mistake.
Do you believe if, say, a journalist posts something factually incorrect or wrong, especially about someone else, if somebody was to say something factually wrong about you, do you believe they should remove that, or do you think they should be able to keep that content up?
Twitter is free speech. People lie about me all the time on there, and they don't get taken down. If you want, it has to go both ways.
So you believe that people should be allowed to keep up wrong information about you and have no recourse, be able to keep that up?
Free speech is free speech.
Okay. So I'm kind of curious how you square that with the letter that you sent this morning to V Sphere, claiming that, you were going to try to sue her for slander. If free speech is free speech, then why are you threatening your critics with lawsuits?
Well, defamation is different.
So would you call misidentifying a shooter's sexuality defamation?
No, I wouldn't. Like I said, there's already a community note on it. So I'm glad that people now.
And you admit that it's wrong, right? Was the Uvalde shooter
and
trans?
I wasn't the creator of that image.
Sure, but you can imagine if somebody amplified wrong information.
The media, like Washington Post and other places, they lie all the time. They're never held accountable. They never remove it. They lie and lie and lie. So I am not gonna. If you want to hold me to that level, then I get to hold you to that level as well, and all the other media. So I just don't think, it's not accurate to compare it, because
Was the Uvalde shooter trans?
the Uvalde shooter wasn't trans.
Got it. And so I guess knowing that you posted wrong information, you're saying it should stay up and everybody else should be allowed to keep whatever they have up as well. Is that sort of your stance? Am I accurately understanding it?
Is there a law against?
No, I'm not asking law. I'm just
lying?
asking your personal sort of opinion. I'm just kind of curious because it seems like you have come after other people, such as V-Sphere and other critics, saying you posted wrong information about me, take it down. I totally get that. That's your prerogative.
It's different with defaming a journalist like that. They're defaming me.
And you don't think that calling a shooter trans when they weren't trans is defaming anyone?
No.
Okay, interesting. I guess I'm
They're
kind
like they're knowingly lying about me.
And what would you say that you did when you sort of posted that about the shooter being trans?
Like I said, a image that was going around for months that I shared from another thing accidentally, and I'm glad there's a community note on it.
Lorenz is so stupid and so arrogant at the same time. It's utterly annoying.
The arrogance. It's
The
exactly
arrogance.
what you
Yeah,
said.
that's
It's
what
the
really
fuck,
gets
It's
me.
the arrogance.
It's the arrogance.
I'm right and you're wrong, and let me like try and show you how. It's like,
Because I work at the
What?
Washington Post, and I don't,
Bro,
I
she
live
gives
in
me-
Washington, and it's
Ugh.
just like, no, you like you like I said before, you keep trying to phrase these questions in language that you think the right feels that it has ownership of, but all you do is reveal your own stupidity.
That's what I was trying to tell you about this entire thing. It's utterly hilarious. They talk the same. They're practically the same type of person, just on the complete opposite spectrum. And she continuously looks like a dolt. The more and more she asks
Opens
these
her
questions,
mouth.
it's
But
like
she still has the mask in front of.
some question. I know, which is first of all, they're just on some street somewhere in like a cafe or something. She just got her
Yeah,
to
why
go
are they
box.
outside for this?
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
bizarre how this even occurred.
It's like, good girl, it's 4 years after the pandemic. You're sitting outside. Take off the mask.
Yeah,
There
like,
is no need for the mask.
what
There's no
brownie
need for the mask.
brownie points do you think you're winning here?
It's all
An act. It's just all an act.
What
She's
Taylor
a
Lorenz is
terrible
nothing
person.
but a surplus elite
Yes.
that is just parroting the people that she feels are like in power.
right.
Right.
Yeah,
That's why she has the
She's a-
mask.
she's a mimic.
That's why she's doing the arrogance thing.
Yes.
That's why she's like, I don't know, just putting on this whole act.
Yeah, it's a complete act. And also it's not even clever. Like
No.
nothing she's doing is even clever. Like you can see it a mile away. It's so easy. It's like if somebody were it's like if somebody it'd be like like a comedy spoof movie when the guy starts running at you with the sword. Oh! Like they're gonna hit you, and then they get there, and you just parry it away because you're seeing it from a mile away.
Yeah.
This guy with I'm going to stab you, and then they run for I don't know why I started running like this in place, but they run for like a mile, and then you just go.
Like, oh
Yeah.
boy, I got you now.
Or like the Indiana Jones scene
Oh,
where
yeah, I
the
was
guy
just
does
thinking
all
about
the
that.
things and Indiana just shoots him. It's like dude, you're not. Like maybe if you were arguing with a lesser intelligent individual, maybe this could fly. Like the kid from To Make a Murderer. I forget his name. Shoot, I can't remember. Can you? Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that
I
guy.
know
The
who you're
guy who's
talking about.
clearly like on the lower level of the
of
IQ,
IQ
scale,
range.
where
Yes,
you can
yeah.
manipulate those types of people because they just aren't.
Or just
They can't
people-
process as fast. But you're talking to somebody who's
Stephen Avery.
yeah, Stephen.
Yeah.
But his cousin who got implicated. I forgot his name. Oh, hey ma, yeah, okay. That kid. I felt bad for that kid, but nevertheless.
Brendan Dassey.
Yes, the one, Brendan
Yeah.
Dassey. Thank you, Discount Jamie. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, hey, ma. Okay. I don't know. Bro, that's a funny thing.
typical,
I don't know. It's a typical northern Wisconsin. It's
what every
hilarious.
Bears fan
But
thinks
she's-
a Packers fan is.
Well, that's just facts. I mean, look at you. I'll just
That's all right. We just got another great quarterback, so carry on.
Yeah, right. So are we. Anyway, so but yeah, it's just this. You know what it is? It's disappointing, right? It's disappointing. Like I would like to have we try and have really good intellectual conversation. We may disagree and everything, but it's just lazy and it's disappointing.
It's
The way she's trying to go after all these gotcha things. Oh, I see that you got removed by Stripe. Yeah, I got reimbursed. I'm back.
it's
you're back,
lazy. It's lazy because people on her side of the aisle, predominantly the mainstream liberal left, you really can just disappear into a big blue city and only ever be surrounded by people who think like you. And you notice, and not just with Taylor Lorenz being a journalist for the Washington Post, as an aside, and this is what really offends me about modern day journalists, is that in a way they're using the First Amendment to destroy the First Amendment. They're supposed to be the challengers to power. You know, the Washington Post, democracy dies in darkness. It's a joke. You are the darkness.
Ooh.
You know, like, I'm sorry, but all you do is parrot what the elite class wants you to parrot.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not
Yeah,
standing
that's
up
what
to
Discount Jamie was saying.
them.
Yeah.
You're
She's
not
just
standing up
she
to them.
she
which
is a
your-
parrot.
Which is
Monkey see, monkey do.
yeah,
Yeah,
which
she is
your
literally the
job,
parrot to the
which
pirate.
is your job. But they've completely abandoned their responsibility as journalists.
The pirate's like, we hate this. And you're like, what? I hate this too. That's basically what she is.
100%.
Yes,
That's literally it.
but no, but a lot. But a lot of people on the left, a lot of people on the mainstream, like liberal left, whatever, they really are, and you see that you see them all the time in everyday life too. But because they have such complete and utter cultural control, whether it's our mainstream media or Hollywood or entertainment, sport, they really can't
Dude, it's
just be
just a
surrounded
bubble.
by people who just think like them.
Dude, it's just a bubble. And the whole
That's
thing
my
is
point. But it's
yeah,
such a
I know,
huge
but
bubble.
the whole
She's
thing is
clearly never
she
left
doesn't
the bubble.
want no, dude. Well, it has nothing to do with that. She just doesn't want to. They just don't want to have an actual conversation. Like everything that is going on and how she gears the questions is very similar to like with the British person trying to get Jordan Peterson. That's how
Yeah.
these they're not conversations. They're literally interrogations
Yes.
with
Yes.
faulty info.
You're exactly right. It's interrogation.
It's just
not-
interrogation,
It's
so
not
they
an
can
honest
go,
conversation. It's just an
so
interrogation.
they can pull a Dave Chappelle. Ha! Got you,
Yeah,
bitch. It's,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like one of those.
Well,
But the problem is it
basically
normally happens to
browbeat
them.
you.
It normally
Yeah.
happens to them, and they end up being the one with pie on their face.
Yeah. For instance, people who look really hot in California, Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom.
Whoa, buddy.
This is a different list than I was expecting.
Yeah, that is not the
Okay.
list. Yeah, that is not.
Well, what I
who
mean is,
thought we were.
what I mean is, like, in a political sense.
Yeah, we get it now.
maybe
Yeah,
Kamala Harris when she was early 20s. But
I mean, she was
Nancy
she was very
Pelosi when she
gorgeous.
was young.
Yeah, she was
very
she was
pretty.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
She both of them in their day. Yeah, but no, what I mean is, like, okay, so they look.
because you really gotten past the cackle.
Yeah,
I mean,
I could have, but once
it's like, all right, just shut up and
I can get
continue.
there.
Just continue doing what you were doing.
but once they're outside, once
You're not gonna get that political office just standing there.
but once they're outside the bubble
Oh,
of
Lord.
California, like they don't actually look that hot. So, for instance, when Gavin Newsom did that debate with Ron DeSantis wiped the floor with him. And in every polling, it's amazing. All the polling where they're now comparing other Democratic candidates to Trump, what's really worrying for Democrats is that Biden has the best chance against Trump than any other Democrat right now. Like, Trump is beating Newsom's ass in polling. It's really
Hey,
surprising.
this is a PG. Let's not talk about people beating other people's asses.
Oh,
That's
but
not-
Yeah, I don't want
it's
to circle back to
surprising.
the gay porn thing.
Oh. They'll put it in schools.
How do you think about the fact that, so often your posts, things that you post about hospitals, libraries, schools, etc., after you make these posts about them, they deal with threats, sometimes bomb threats, sometimes harassment.
We don't know who's calling in the threats. And I mean, look, bomb threats are bad. I've said that 1,000 times. People who call in bomb threats should be arrested and investigated. You can't call in bomb threats. But I just don't know what does it have to do with.
Well, I guess, a recent NBC investigation found at least 33 instances where you posted about a specific person or institution, and that person or institution was immediately bombarded with death threats and violent threats, including bomb threats, other violent threats. That's a pretty significant correlation. How do you, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but I got like tons of death threats this week after the entire media machine came after me. So are they responsible for those?
I don't think that there's the same correlation. Are you receiving bomb threats?
I'm receiving death threats, like, hi, I'm gonna come murder you.
Yeah, and I definitely sympathize with you there, because
Like,
I get those
literally,
every day.
the article goes live, and then I get those threats.
I get the same thing when a Fox News article goes live.
So is the journalist responsible, the journalist who posted the article?
I would say, there's a different responsibility when we're talking about media, and I guess to me, a death threat is different than a violent bomb threat. A death threat, I think we're kind of getting normalized to them, unfortunately, online. We get a lot of them. Probably you and I get them constantly, 24/7. I'm wondering kind of how you think about taking these obscure people, right? Because you and I are both public figures, and I imagine you and I we have a high tolerance, right, for what we can handle online. Say you're taking a private citizen, a gay teacher, for instance, in a small town, and you post about that person, and then that person subsequently, who had no media presence prior, receives pretty violent threats. How does that make you feel?
We need to answer the question first, though. Is the journalist responsible for actions that have to happen after?
So you consider sort of your posts about private citizens, incendiary posts, you consider that journalism?
I'm an independent journalist.
Uh-huh. And do you think that there's a difference between doing journalism on a completely private figure that has no public presence and no institutional power versus reporting on a powerful public institution or person?
You still didn't answer the question. Is the journalist responsible for reporting for any actions that happen after the reporting?
Personally, I think that journalists should take care and should consider sort of the framing, and I think that they should do their best not to appear as if they encourage that sort of behavior. I've noticed that you haven't necessarily publicly condemned that behavior, publicly told your supporters, listen guys, stop calling in these bomb threats.
Who said it's my followers? Do you have information that it's my followers?
I guess who else's followers would it be?
I don't know.
So
there's 300 million people in this country.
So you post bomb threats follow, and you're saying it might be just unrelated people?
I have no idea. We don't know who it is.
Have you taken steps to find out?
We filed some FOIAs with police departments. Yeah.
What have you found?
We haven't got to anything useful yet that we can use. But actually, one of them, we know it's like some foreign actor, not even from the country. So who knows who it is.
I just find that hilarious. What you said just while we were watching this, it's so hypocritical.
Yes.
What she said. I think journalists should take care and be mindful of what's gonna happen when they post something and what the repercussions are going to be. It's like, you're the one who started the whole thing, lady. You doxed this woman. What do you mean? What do you mean? You're pot calling the kettle black situation here. With the amount of arrogance, stupidity, lack of forethought is unfathomable to me. How she can say a question one way, and then as soon as it's flipped around back to her, she gives an answer that completely contradicts how she was framing her question in the first one.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. The more and more this interview goes on, the more you see how ridiculously terrible this woman is at anything she does. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. Also, here's a very simple thing, and this goes all the way back. Do you remember, what was his name? The crazy flamboyant gay dude who was a conservative that everybody...
Santos?
No.
Milo Yiannopoulos.
I remember that.
Yeah,
remember when he posted a bunch... Remember when he made fun of the black lady from SNL?
Yes.
And it was all... And then somebody else was like, oh, how do you feel about that? And his point to that was 100% correct, which was like, look, this is the age of social media. I'm going to post stuff, and I cannot be responsible for all the crazy people. I can say, hey, please don't do anything, but other than that, what am I supposed to do? I'm not supposed to post something?
No,
have you seen?
Absolutely.
The only reason why any of these people get any of this type of stuff is only because they're a quote-unquote, as Taylor says, public figure. So anything that comes underneath that is going to get additional attention. Like, oh, I can't believe they made a post about that. Oh, it's like saying, oh, I can't believe they think. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? They post something, they happen to be a public figure. some crazies out there do some crazy stuff and post some crazy stuff. I have seen crazy people post crazy stuff regardless of who was the original poster or anything. Even the comments we get on some of our videos are like, "What the hell?" Like,
Yeah.
but, you know, it. People on social media are gonna say whatever the hell they want to say because they feel like they are still somehow protected because they put up like a fake name or something. If your real name is on it, you have to be super careful about what you say because it's your name on it. But a lot of people, there's bots, there's fake accounts where people are behind it and they just say whatever the hell they want to say. And you know, so of course these things are going to happen, and nobody likes it, but that's just the world we live in now.
Yes.
So no, there shouldn't. It's just like when the Bernie guy shot up all the.
I was just about to say that.
What? So
I was
it's
just
that.
I was
Bernie
just about to
Sanders is
say,
responsible for that
no,
guy.
he's not.
That's the whole exactly.
No, he's not. You're absolutely right. No public figure is responsible for the crazy, evil, or malicious actions of people who claim to follow them. A great case in point, 2013, a Bernie bro nearly assassinated the entire congressional delegation of Republicans, leaving wounds that Steve Scalise, the current House Majority Whip, Republican of Louisiana, is still living with. He came within inches of killing him over stuff that, because Bernie Sanders said they wanted to destroy Obamacare or some madness, whatever his socialist diatribe was that day. You know?
Yeah.
But Bernie Sanders is not responsible. That arsehole is responsible.
Yeah, and it's another lazy argument of hers to say, well, shouldn't you take care because you're ruining and destroying lives? You ruined and destroyed this
Her
woman's life.
You destroyed
You
her.
did the same thing.
You literally you did that, bitch.
Yeah, I'm
You
waiting
that bitch.
for
You
Kai
that
Raychik
bitch.
to say that. I'm waiting for Kai Raychik to turn this around and say, like, well, I
You
wouldn't
that
be
bitch,
getting these
bitch.
death threats, bomb threats, etc. if you hadn't doxed me. When is she going to say that?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, she should.
She should.
Exactly.
Maybe they have some
She's-
agreement that she would.
Well,
She's
yeah,
trying
like,
really hard
She probably
to
does.
be restrained.
Yeah.
Everything I've learned from this is that Libs of TikTok girl just takes the dumb question and just spins it, and then Taylor Lorenz spirals out of control with her stupid
Because
answer,
it's so easy.
contradicting herself.
Because it's so easy to do. Because higher Raychik is nowhere near as stupid as Taylor Lorenz thinks she is, and Taylor Lorenz is nowhere near as smart as she thinks she is.
Also, here's the other component of how stupid her question is about this, right? Libs of TikTok just reposts
What they
videos
say.
of what they already post online. It's not like she's going and videotaping these people live and then taking what they say and then posting it. These people already post this stuff onto their accounts for the world to see. But they have a smaller audience because they're in the bubble. But their people are going to be like, Slay Queen, yeah. LGBTQ flags in the classroom. Woo! Yeah. you
Yeah,
know, everyone's
yeah.
special. Woo! You know, this type of stuff. And then Libs of TikTok just takes that video and reposts it so that a whole nother audience
Can see what's
can
going
see
on.
what's going on. And then all of a sudden they're like, why is everybody mean? It's like, because when you come outside your bubble, you psychopath, not everyone's going to agree with you.
Yeah.
You can't be teaching kids this stuff in school either.
No.
I mean, I hate to say the proverbial comment, but we are creating a whole class of snowflakes. Like,
Yeah.
you can't bubble wrap everybody and then say, run into that wall of pins and hope that so one pin's going to poke through and they're going to go, ow, and then they're not going to know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's like one tiny little prick and everybody goes, oh, you hurt me. Like, no, you're fine. You are fine.
Yeah.
Like, just be, grow some thick skin. That's where that comes from, that expression.
Or just grow or attach a proverbial pair of balls, because you're going to need them in life at times.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm sorry, people are going to upset you. People are not going to like you. People are going to say things you don't like, and they're going to hurt your feelings. But you need to get over it. Life is sometimes just shit. Sometimes it is just shit.
Life is primarily that.
You
And
just have to keep
You just
going.
wade. You just wade
have
in the
to keep
waters
going.
of shit, trying to make it out to the other side. That's about how
Yeah.
it goes.
You know, if you eradicate transgenderism, which I believe you suggested in a post today.
No, I never suggested that.
Oh, okay.
to
You
eradicate
reposted a
transgenderism.
post that was advocating for that. What would happen to the people that have already medically, socially, completely transitioned and are leading happy lives? What would happen to them? I mean, what's your plan for that? If transgenderism doesn't exist, which it seems like that's what you believe, what happens to all the people living happy lives as trans people?
Well, first of all, the whole trans it's based on a lie. You can't change your gender.
Okay, but
So they could go live their life. I mean, I can't tell someone what to do in their house.
sounds like you do want to tell people what to do in their house.
I never said that.
So you're totally okay with people being trans, just not as long as they're in public.
No, I never said that. They could. It's the whole thing is based off of a lie, and I think that this lie cannot be mainstream in our society. It's a lie.
And what harm is it causing, do you believe?
I like the truth. I like truth.
Right, but I'm saying what's the harm of people expressing their gender identity differently than you believe it to be? What harm are they causing?
Like I said, we are a nation of truth, and I seek the truth.
But I'm asking about the harm. What's the harm? You might believe it to be false, but what's
The harm is that there's a lie that is very mainstream and is being embedded into every institution.
I guess I'm wondering what the material harm is. Aside from it's maybe something that you disagree with, as in your version of the truth is different than their version of the truth. What is the material harm of them living their life as a woman or man or gender that you don't agree
Not anything that's wrong is there a material harm necessarily.
with? So there's no harm.
I didn't say that.
So can you name a single harm?
The way that it's pushed onto kids, first of all.
What's pushed onto kids?
Gender ideology, transgenderism.
But if they're leading happy lives and they just are leading a
Well,
different...
there are studies that show that they're more suicidal after transition.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, there's a study out of Sweden.
That is not
Yeah.
true. That is not true.
Yeah, you can look up the study.
Well, taking into account all of the happy people that have transitioned who are not harming anyone, you can't come up with a single material harm.
So if someone says, I'll be happier if I'm blind, should a doctor pull their eyes out?
I think that's quite different than gender ideology, but people do, I guess...
Someone says I'm happier if I chop my dick off, and we should just let them do that.
I think, there's a lot of gender-affirming care that women do, right? I mean, women ascribe to certain gender things. You see women getting boob jobs to affirm their gender. I mean, we're in Los Angeles. We see this kind of gender-affirming...
So again, you're comparing boob jobs and nose jobs to
Well, they're
people
gender-affirming.
Buying into the lie that they could change their sex.
Breast enhancements are gender-affirming for women. There's a lot of women that feel small-chested. They feel like it would be gender-affirming for them to have plastic surgery. And they're allowed to do it. And I notice that you don't critique that. I guess I'm curious, Haya, there are a lot of people that have ideas about women, right? And about what makes a woman, right? What makes a appropriate woman? How should a woman? You're saying you're against people sort of like living lies or living outside this ideology that you've constructed. Some might say, look, we're both women over the age of 25, working. I certainly don't have kids. They might consider that not okay for a woman. Do you think it's up to do you think it's okay for them to dictate how you live your life as a woman? Do you think it's up or sort of where does that line get drawn?
So again, you're comparing boob jobs to a teenage girl chopping off her breasts.
Well, first of all, teenage girls get boob jobs, but breast enhancements are gender affirming for many women. I'm asking you, why is it that people have to live under your sort of view of gender? And
it's not my view, it's science. It's facts, it's biology.
But biology, if we're talking biology, there's a spectrum of gender. There's people that are intersex.
That is a rare medical condition that has nothing to do with someone deciding that they could be the opposite gender.
I guess I'm still kind of struggling to understand how you think, if your view, say tomorrow Trump is elected, he says, all right, we're going to all live by Haya's, decisions, right? What about all these happy trans people that are living their lives? They're not harming anyone. What harm are they doing by living their life as a woman who've medically transitioned? They're adults. You know, I understand you have problems with kids, but with adult trans people, what's the harm that they're doing to society?
To society, they're spreading a lie that is affecting children also.
So you just believe gender is a lie. And what if somebody said to
Trans, you can't change your gender.
And what if somebody said to you, you know, you're not a real woman. You're not a real woman because maybe you don't meet these certain specific definitions of femininity.
That's fine. I don't care. They can call me whatever you want.
But what if you would be forced to live by that system? Do you think it's fair that you would, you know, be forced?
Is that
to
based in like science?
Well, I don't think any of it's really based in science.
Well, it is.
Gender is
There are
a
two sexes.
social construct.
Well, gender is actually made up.
Exactly. Yes,
by
we agree on
someone
this. We
by,
agree.
by a child predator, by a pedophile.
We don't agree.
Yeah,
We don't agree on
so he made up gender, and now they conflate the two, and they use it to basically trans kids. So there are actually two sexes, and there are 0 genders, and there are many personalities. That's what I believe.
Okay.
Well, so not to be on the side of Taylor Lorenz, the like woke parrot, but I will say, like, I feel like Haya would have a better argument if she just said, yeah, if you're like a 30-year-old dude that wants to be a girl and you're not like hanging out with kids, go do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Who is that hurting?
Right.
I agree. I mean, I
That was her
see-
whole point about material
yeah.
harm.
Yeah.
My libertarian foundations, if you're an adult and you want to do this, it's not my place to judge you.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
It's your life, you live it.
She's
Yeah.
just not articulating her counter argument very well.
Because
She's just
She's
like-
not articulating
yeah,
it well
she's-
there,
yeah.
no.
In other instances in this interview where she was pretty good at doing things, she was in this instance, I don't know, I don't know why she's unable to formulate a proper
Because she's
argument.
angry.
Maybe. but-
She's offering you can tell by her body language and her body stance that she's nervous because Taylor Lorenz is and it's probably why she hasn't come back to her on the personal tax that that we discussed earlier, the semi-personal tax Taylor Lorenz is making. It's Taylor. You can tell by the body language. Taylor Lorenz is like on her like a little chihuahua. She's like, and like, whereas Raya is kind of a bit. She's not used to this as much as Taylor is.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
you
that's a
can
good point.
you can
Haya
tell
doesn't,
by
like,
the
do
body
interviews.
language.
Yeah, she doesn't really
Yeah.
do
No,
interviews.
she does.
She's barely even a journalist.
No,
she
not
literally
really.
just reposts things
You're right,
yeah.
and says, "Ha, look at that."
right,
like,
exactly.
She's not used. She's
It's
not
like,
used
yeah.
how to fight and frame a narrative, which is all Taylor Lorenz and our mainstream media
She's
does.
still terrible.
Is framing. Yeah, but there's others who are much better, and she's in that industry,
Right.
so she's used to this.
The
And
general
Raya's-
argument is just the reason why it's a problem in the material harm is that it doesn't just stay independent by individuals. There is a collective group that is actively trying to push the agenda that anybody can be trans, and perhaps you are
The
actually to children now that you are actually a trans kid because you come up against some hardships or are having some momentary bouts of confusion of your identity, which has necessarily nothing to do with actual gender, but just the trials and general tribulations of going through puberty or being a teenage kid that we've all gone through,
Yeah.
trying to find out who we actually are and how we exist and subsist in this world. That's all it really is. And instead, now you have these people who are trans or are trans allies, whatever, saying, maybe you're feeling this way because actually you are insert opposite gender of what they actually are. And it's like, no, that isn't necessarily the problem. It could be, but it probably isn't. And that's why it's an actual problem. It's not just being trans, or the trans community is not just existing in a subsection where it's just adults doing their trans little lives and doing everything they do because they live in America and you can be an individual and live your life how you want. However, most people will leave you the fuck alone. It's when you take this and you're now actively trying to harm the next generation of kids by trying to make them think this way. And that's what she is unable to somehow articulate to Taylor Lorenz's dumb question. And that's the material harm. The material harm is the more people we have in society thinking they're the opposite gender and getting life-changing surgeries to the point they aren't going to be able to have a normal and or healthy sexual life, it harms the country in so many particular ways. If too many people become fucking trans, it's just not good. Who will be in the military? How will you conduct policy? How can you say that there's women should only be in charge of women decisions when anybody and everybody can be a fucking goddamn woman? There's no definition of it anymore. How do you even function a society? And that's the material harm. The material harm is that it seemingly looks like a stratagem to bring one of many stratagems that have been used to try and eat away the United States from the inside through ideology being pushed to people who do not have fully functional brains and are unable I don't know. That's how kids are. Kids aren't that guy. Kids are all I don't know. They don't know until they're fully formed people. I was an idiot until I was 25, and my brain was fully functioning.
The way that I think,
come on, man.
The way that I think parents and schools should look at transgender stuff for kids is they should think of this little 2x2 matrix. So a kid comes to you and says, "Hey, like, I'm trans," right? Either A, they really do have this severe dysphoria,
right,
or B, they don't. And
right.
Then on the other axis, you do something about it, hormones, etc., or you don't.
Right.
The percentage of people in this world that truly and honestly have this severe dysphoria and this problem is so low.
Right.
And the cost of getting this wrong, the cost of saying, okay, and going along with it, and then doing that treatment is so high that even if you honestly believe that your child is trans, looking at these outcomes mathematically, you should not do anything, right? The cost of doing the hormones and then having the kid change their mind later is so high relative to the cost of not doing the hormones, and then it turns out that your child really does have this gender dysphoria, right? That's how parents should look at it. They should look at it unemotionally and scientifically.
Yeah, but that's okay.
And
well, you say that until
and
it's your kid. Once your kid
is... try me.
Try me. You specifically, yeah, me also maybe as well. But most people are and here's the other thing: it's now fashionable to be a parent that has a trans kid. There's so many things.
Yeah.
There are so many factors. That's the material harm. We're raising a nation and we're creating a nation of a bunch of bloody idiots.
We found a way for certain parents to glorify Munchausen by proxy.
Yeah.
And that is frankly disturbing.
Yeah.
But I would reiterate again my libertarian principles. If you are of age where you decide, if you are of age, meaning you are a formed, functioning adult, and you decide to do that, you decide to do this.
If you're 18 and you're out of your parents' house, do what the fuck you want.
Basically,
come on. Like call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
If you want to go chop off your tallywackle and become and replace it with the whole of China, that's up to you, man. Okay?
Yeah, it's your life.
That's your life. You do you, boo-boo. Okay? But what we're saying is we don't want, and the material harm is, for these types of folks that have made that determination and things and are still suffering because maybe they don't get help in other things, like through a therapist or something else, they go, you know what I'm going to do? Because I feel this way, I feel like there's a lot of other kids that are like me, so I'm going to help those kids do what I did. Even if they don't really have that problem, because, again, it's just the general trials and tribulations of going through puberty and being a teenager.
Yes.
And then you convince so many of these kids that they're that way, and then they're not like you, and their lives get completely fucked up. And it's just, dude, it's just like the Bill Maher joke that he made where he was showing the graph of how much this is, but like he said, by the year 2050, we'll all be trans. It's like, I mean, it's trending that way. It's ridiculous.
It is, but it's only in certain. It's only really in certain communities where this is becoming fashionable, like carrying around a Louis Vuitton handbag.
It's actually
You
it's
know?
actually starting to happen in a lot of places I wouldn't have originally thought it would happen. Like even in my high school alma mater, there's like stuff like this, and in other
What
places.
people you went to high school with? Is that what you?
Well, yeah, well, just there's a whole thing around my high school. I'm not going to get into the whole details, but
Right.
suffice to say, a situation occurred where I was like, "What?" And it's a Catholic institution. I was like, I can't even believe just by the principles of the church, this shouldn't be allowed.
I know.
But
Well, I
because,
mean, but
because
well,
everybody's worried about the backlash, stuff happens in a way where you're like, it literally goes against the religion.
Catholic preaching, yes.
Yeah, it's just
Catholic
it's like
teaching.
there's nothing wrong with this person doing what they want to do in their life, but it doesn't mean we have to change in 3 whole institutions
Yeah.
just so that you can have what you want. That's not how the world works.
Mm.
It's crazy.
Mm.
So, anyway, I just found this entire thing. There's a little bit more of this. We've already been going at this for quite a while, so we want to get to the other 2 topics before we get too late tonight. But I just thought that this was such an interesting interview that highlighted so many things about what's wrong with our society, what's wrong with the modern day journalism, how people are formulating arguments, the special topics that are happening. There's just so many interesting things happening here. I'm probably gonna listen to the rest of this later. But
It is essentially the clash of our time culturally in one interview between
Yeah.
2 women who are basically the same person but opposite ends
Right.
of themselves.
yeah,
it is.
it's
quite
opposite worlds.
fascinating,
It's
yeah.
opposite worlds.
It really is. It really
yeah,
is.
man, it's crazy. It's crazy. But you know what also is crazy is Shane Gillis actually made it to SNL after his whole crazy podcast fiasco.
So give us some context. Why did he originally get fired?
He was on a podcast and he was making some jokes, and they were racial in nature, and a lot of people came out and just said it was very anti-Asian, and he was doing like some accent or something as well, or whatever. And people at that moment in time, I think they had also just hired like one of the first Asian cast members,
Right.
and then they hired him also, and they were like, and then so people during the cancel culture when it was at its height were like,
Around
you're gonna hire this
2019,
white guy
2020,
who's
right.
clearly making racist jokes about Asians after you just hired an Asian person. Like, it just didn't sit well. So
Was
again,
that Asian
fearing-
lady?
I don't remember who it was. I thought it
okay.
was a guy, but nevertheless,
Mhm.
the whole point was like, whoa, and so Lorne Michaels and SNL decided like, hey, to save face, we gotta whatever. So he basically lied low for a couple years, and now he's back and he's having a huge resurgence, and he's blowing up all over social media because he's hilarious. And I think the other reason is because I think he's figured out as a comedian a fine line of probably being conservative leaning, but pretending like he's not, and really hamming it up and making fun of it. I think it's also because he's definitely a little bit more conservative leaning. He has a joke that we talked about in the last podcast of him having a Fox News dad versus having a Fox News mom and stuff, and like some of his jokes
Or
are obviously
my favorite joke of his: if you're fascinated of World War II, then you're on your way to being a
right.
Republican.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming, dude.
Yeah.
It's coming.
It's coming. Yeah.
I know right now you're like, you want to be a cool,
hip.
hip liberal guy, but it's coming, dude. Believe me, you can't stop it. It's so true.
That was good.
It's so
that was
true.
Good. That was
Yeah,
good.
it's so true. And it's so he did his monologue, and so we'll watch a little bit of the monologue. What's really interesting is the aftermath of the monologue, and people being like, "Oh, controversial monologue, fall flat on his face," and blah, 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 all the liberal talking points about,
Right.
he was scared, and it was really awkward, and all this type of stuff. And it's like,
bro,
well, what did you expect?
And what I find amazing is that it's been well established that for a while Saturday Night Live has not been funny.
No, most people. No, it's been terrible.
Yeah, and it's because this is how bad it got. Saturday Night Live, for their opening monologue, the Saturday after Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, it was what was the name of that blonde lady? that was on it.
Some blonde
there's
comedian.
some blonde.
Yeah. She was playing Hillary Clinton in a monologue where she was
Oh yeah.
literally
Kate-
singing a song.
Kate something. Discount Jamie.
Kate.
I can't remember her last name.
But
right now.
you have to say
McKinnon?
I'm Kate McKinnon. That's the one.
Kate McKinnon. I think
She
it
was
is.
Kate
literally
McKinnon, yeah.
singing a ballad about how sad it all was that Hillary Clinton lost. And it was just
Yeah,
like,
it's-
guys, you're supposed to be a comedy show. Like, if you play this right, it is
I will
something
tell you.
inherently funny.
I will tell you,
You
that,
know.
that Second City is the same way. From when I was at Second City to what it is like now is completely different. SNL is the same because really good sketch comedy and what really resonates with everybody is when it appeals to the masses and it's relationship based. really.
Yeah.
And you can do some other one-off spoof type things and stuff like that as well. And there've been some good ones. Not everything I've seen from SNL over the last few years has been complete trash, but the amount of quality versus the amount of trash is very.
Yeah.
It's like you got to sift through a little bit to find one of the
So
good
even
skits.
Second City is
Oh,
like
yeah, dude.
that now?
Oh, 100%. It's gone. It's Wokeville over there, dude. 100%. I can't go to
Chicago
shows.
institution.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
which
but-
is why it's gone Wokeville.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Okay.
Yeah. Come on, dude. So it's just unfortunate. When you go and look at the stuff from like the 70s, 80s, 90s, that stuff was,
yeah.
that stuff's fire, dude. Even some of the early 2000s, but now it's just so terrible. So now if they had Shane Gillis on, he's done a lot of sketch comedy
Right.
in addition to his stand up, and it's funny stuff for the most part.
No.
It's not for everybody, and no comedy is for everybody, but that's the whole point of comedy. You got to find the audience. You got to find what is funny, what isn't funny, what's going to appeal to most people versus not appeal to other people. That's the whole point. That's why you should say every joke that comes into your head. That's my philosophy. Anyway, like maybe do some censoring, but like pretty much you should be able to make fun of anything. And the whole point of comedy is comedy is a unifying thing, right? Or it should be anyway, because as I listened to one podcast of these improvisers, they were saying like comedy is speaking about the mirror between the two people we just watched in the interview, Lorenz and Libs of TikTok lady. Comedy is also a mirror that just reflects society back upon you.
Yeah.
And people get offended because sometimes they don't want to look in the mirror because they don't like what they see in the mirror.
Yeah.
So that's why they get offended, because it's really just truth personified in a humoristic way to also help us get over the trials and tribulations of life, because
Yeah.
life sucks. It's
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets it on easy street. And even sometimes when you have it on easy street, that's not always great either.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? So we all have to go. So comedy helps us deal with dark things and some dark topics we don't necessarily want to think about. But if we can chuckle about it, it takes the power away from that dark thing a little bit so that we can help cope. I mean, literally a coping thing is therapists will have people go do stand-up and talk about their trauma, which has made quite a few awkward open mics I've been to. But because I'm there to do comedy, I'm not fucking completely fucked up in the head. I just a little. I'm generally okay. All right. So, but anyway, yeah. But you see that all the time. So, what SNL should be when it comes to sketch is it really should be relationship based, and when you watch some of the old stuff, you really kind of get all that, and that's why it was so funny, because it was relatable. But now all it is I'm gonna hit you over the head, boom, woke liberal stuff, boom,
Yeah.
and you're just like, yo, man, I just want to have a laugh. Like,
Yeah.
excuse me, does everything need to be with a
Serious?
political tint?
Yeah,
like-
I know.
Some good comedy is obviously with a political tint,
Hmm.
but not to the point where it's so obvious what you're trying to get pushed through
Mm-hmm.
that you're just gonna alienate
So just
so many people.
So actual laughter, not clapter.
Yeah, like for example, like Jon Stewart came back to the Daily Show and did a really good
Yeah, it
segment
was,
making
and that
fun
was
of
quite funny.
making fun of both old men candidates.
Yes.
And it's like Jon Stewart is clearly a left-leaning dude and will
Yes.
still vote for Biden, but like he at least has the sense to say, "Come on, everybody, like this is a fucking joke."
Are you sure we can't do better?
Right,
than
like this is a joke. We should all laugh at this. We are stuck with this.
Yeah.
Let's have a laugh
Yeah, but did you see
at their expense.
But did you see the pushback he got from the left?
Exactly, but that's the
You
whole,
know, and it's just like,
it's
guys,
crazy.
He's one of yours. He's just
Yeah.
pointing out the obvious that we can all see.
Right, the mirror, exactly. And
Yeah.
people get upset when the mirror is reflected because what does it mean? They will lose power.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. It's all a power. It's a lot of it is all a power.
Do you know what
play,
the
but
perfect example of this was? Did you see Stephen Colbert's rant the other night over Trump not being running for Trump running for president? It was atrocious.
he's gone down.
Yeah, it was
he's gone
just
downhill, dude.
it was just absolute TDS toddler tantrum. That's all I can describe it as.
Yeah, a lot of those talk show hosts, they just have
Yeah,
toddler
but late night. You
Yeah,
talk
man.
about SNL, like Jay Leno.
That's why
was
their
funny.
that's why their numbers are in the shitter because people don't want to watch crap anymore.
No.
That's the whole point. People already have. We already have you. Whoever's watching, we already have enough crap we deal with in our life. We don't want to go to something that's supposed to help us relax. That's why there's trash TV. That's why my fiance likes watching trash TV like The Bachelor
Yeah.
because it's so terrible. But you
Oh,
can
I
just
love trash TV.
you can.
Real
That's the whole
Housewives,
point.
Vanderpump Rules.
You turn off your brain
Have you
and
seen Vanderpump
and you
Rules?
just
Love
have
it.
a moment to
Love it.
relax. Something you watch that is maybe a little funny. You don't have to think too hard, and you can enjoy, and then you can get re-energized a little bit before you have to deal with crap the next day. That's what this stuff should be. Not lecturing you on how you should think, how you should be, what you should eat. Like all the it's like, yo, man, just shut the fuck up. I just want to have a laugh. So that's what Shane Gillis tried to do. And I thought it was brilliant.
He's basically joking the way everyone did 20 years ago, and now is being force fed down your throat that it's somehow alien or wrong.
Right.
Like this
right.
is how I joked as a teenager with my mates.
Yeah.
I'm sure all we do, like, everyone was just like, "Oh yeah, Todd," or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
of
it was
course.
a joke. We knew it was a joke, and you just got on with life.
Also, there's nothing bad that he's saying. He's not nothing
No.
bad that he said. Like even the story about his niece and the kid, the evil white kids call
Yeah.
her retarded. You can't
Yeah.
believe that. It's like just black kids just come wailing and beat up that cracker. It's just so funny, dude. It is. It is exactly. It's what America needs.
Yeah,
And people got offended by that joke. It's like, why? What's offensive about that? Why did people? I don't understand why. I mean, there's so many people that talked about how it was awkward, and he admitted he didn't talk too much about why he wasn't on the show and why he got fired, and he, dismissed it, and he clearly was very nervous and uneasy. It's like, dude, what? First of all, he was supposed to be a cast member of the show, not headlining the show. There's very two different things to do, by the way. Even people who were on the show who then headlined it afterwards had a little bit more comfortability with it because they had been on the show, but it's still different. It is very different because when you're just on the show, you don't always do all the sketches. But when you're the headliner, you're basically in every single sketch because you're the main person on the show that time. Everybody else is like a supporting character for you. They write sketches and skits for you in mind. That's the whole point. So it's a vastly different position. So of course he's going to be nervous. He knows who he is. He knows his material. He knows why they're bringing him on now because he's proven that he can be very, very funny and a hit, which is why they should have kept him on before, which is why they hired him before.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, this guy's sketches are fire."
So essentially, and this is why I think it's a broader, more important cultural moment, is because the gears of the market are working. He left. He was fired from SNL. He then, outside of the SNL environment, instead of crumbling, he succeeded beyond any of their wildest imaginations. And now they've had to bring him back because culturally Americans are like, you know what? He's pretty fucking funny. and he is really, really
He's
funny.
very funny. Dude, he
You
brought
know?
his dad on just to make fun of him for
Yeah.
being a volunteer assistant high
Coach.
school basketball coach for girls. That is hilarious. That should have gotten a bigger laugh. It's so funny. His set was really, really well done. He did bring, like, him talking about the Down syndrome stuff and everything. That's like, I've heard some of those jokes before. So he went to something comfortable. He might have
Yes.
had something else prepared, but then I think he went to something comfortable based on
The
which is
audience
smart.
reaction.
Which is smart because you don't, it is nerve-wracking being up there, and it is really well lit, and you can definitely see when people are uneasy and stuff. Even Chappelle and folks have talked about that,
Yeah.
but they're a little bit more comfortable as they're in that limelight a lot more, or have been, but he hasn't really, right? So it's just a different scenario for him. But all the critiques and everything he was getting, like, what did you expect? He wasn't going to be nervous. He wasn't going to be awkward.
I
People
know.
wrote these articles as if he should somehow be ashamed, and also the comments were like, oh, he didn't talk more about why he was fired originally from the show. Like, the whole all those are like the Taylor Lorenzes of the world who were miffed because they didn't win at the end of the day, like you're
Yes.
saying, right? Like, he
Yeah.
came back. It's definitely a comeback story. It's what Americans love. We love a good comeback story. But I hate to use your phrases, but these elite liberal Ivy League school journalists can't stomach it.
No, they can't.
They can't stomach it.
They're-
And you know what? Partly because he also does look like he has Down syndrome. It's
Well,
also like, this person shouldn't be this successful.
It's because they're
which is not racist, but it's like that's not a nice thing to say
But-
about this guy.
because they are losing control. They're losing cultural control. They're losing control of narrative, and they cannot stomach it. What we're basically, and this is why it's so fascinating, what we're basically seeing right now is a cultural pushback against a progressive era that really began 100 years ago with Woodrow Wilson. Then it got another, it then ratcheted up a notch with FDR. And then you had what was the counterculture of the 1960s. That counterculture has become the predominant elite power class. And now you're starting to see, for once, you're starting to see an actual effective pushback against it. You had a moment with Reagan, but in terms of both politically and comically and culturally, but now and they can't stomach it.
Yeah,
And that's what they're scared of, and that's why they
Yeah.
don't want people like him on SNL.
that's right.
They don't want people like him to speak.
They don't want people to laugh.
No, they don't. They don't. And you know what? I'm sorry, but can we just go back to 20 years ago when I was a kid and you could just say what the fuck you wanted and not fear about anything, and people could take a joke. Could just
a man
take
can
a joke.
dream. A man can dream.
I know, man. Can we just go back to
Oh.
where I do Adam
Now
Sandler
they-
and
now- No, they don't want you taking a joke, but they do want kids taking a dick.
oh, that's a little much. It's a little much.
This is my point. I thought it. I had to say it. I had to say it.
Hey.
It ties in so perfectly, though. Anyway, I'm very happy for Shane. I think this is great for him.
I think it's
I'm
great for
proud of
both,
him.
though.
I'm happy
Yes.
for him. I don't know if I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. I don't know him
No,
personally.
he
I
seems
can't
like
be
a
proud of him.
solid,
Like,
good guy.
He seems like a good dude.
Yeah,
he just seems like a dude trying to make people laugh and have a good time. I
But we
watched a
need
ton of his
that.
stand up. He's very good. He's very good at also, like, I feel like, disarming the crowd and stuff when he pushes boundaries on certain topics and things. His Trump impression is fire.
Yes.
I mean, it's like there's so much to like, and there's so many other people like him as well that aren't getting a shot. The only reason why they brought him on versus some other people that are like him is only because they fired him, and he's risen to to some pretty good levels of popularity and
Well,
success.
he has Netflix specials now.
Yeah,
They can't ignore that.
so they were like
you
oh,
know?
we made a mistake and enough time has passed, the statute of limitations on this has passed, so we can bring him back and use him to try and boost our ratings. So I'm sure they got massive ratings from him being on.
Of course they did.
All of his following
it's the
for
most
sure watched
talked about appearance in
a minute
since Chappelle's.
Chappelle's
Since
or Bill
Chappelle.
Burr's. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bill
yeah.
Burr's got to get a bit of a row as well. I mean,
Mm.
comedians typically, I think, get more, or even Travis Kelce was another big one. But since then, I have not heard
Of any?
Really, like I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't
tuned.
care.
Yeah, I tuned out of SNL a while
Yeah,
ago.
it's become quite trash for the most part. There's some good. I'm not gonna say all of it's trash, but it's not like it was when in its heyday.
No.
And I do feel like a Bears fan for sure by saying like back in the 80s, in '85,
Oh,
SNL was
yeah.
great. It's like
That's
but
what
it was.
that's why I brought up Reagan earlier, because even culturally during Reagan's time, like SNL was amazing. Music
the
was
90s,
brilliant.
the
The 90s too,
the
with
early
Phil.
thousands.
I miss
yeah,
I miss the clash. I miss the mixture of Reagan Republican and Clinton Democrat. Do you know what I mean? I miss that.
I just miss funny.
culture. Yes, but
It has nothing to do with
no,
with
it
that.
it
It's
has
just funny is funny.
it has that has a tad in there.
No,
as
it
well,
doesn't.
in
It's
the
just
culture
funny.
that they created.
Funny is funny.
Yes, it
People who are
does.
able to
Yes,
make
it
fun of
does.
anything and everything that was funny.
Yes,
And that's what the
it-
the
I'm right.
people during those periods of time were good at. They were just good at being funny regardless of what the topic was. Whoever they made fun of, whatever, they were funny at doing it. Made sense. It made us all have a laugh. And now it's just too much, you know, what's not the term? Not mansplaining, but like that politically.
Patronizing?
Some patronizing, some patronizing, and just trying to get through this ideology through
Yeah,
everybody.
I know.
Like this is how you should think and feel. And I think at this point everybody's like, you know what, we're done with this.
But yeah,
And Shane Gillis is a perfect
Yeah,
personification and representation of that.
and you can feel it in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the majority of people are just getting to the point. They won't say it publicly because they can't, but they're getting sick of it. They're getting
Yeah,
sick of
everybody's
being
sick of
told
it.
what to do, what to think. Yeah, I know.
Things
you
are
can
in
feel it.
life as they are, and it's okay that they are that way,
Yep.
and it's okay for us to have a laugh about it
Yep.
and just get through
It's-
this crazy existence.
It's okay to mock life because
That's the whole
life is
point.
my life is pretty funny.
We've been doing it
You
since our
know,
beginning.
Absolutely.
Since the beginning of time, we have been making fun of ourselves and life.
Yeah.
And it should continue
Absolutely.
unless you have tyrants, which that did happen.
Yeah.
And
that happened.
That happened.
And
quite
we're
a
gonna
bit.
make sure it doesn't happen now.
Right. That's ideally the whole purpose of how this country was founded upon, so we wouldn't have to worry about
Tyrants.
this type of stuff.
Yes.
And not even and not a tyrant, but a culmination collective
Yep.
of wannabe tyrants.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the cancel culture really is. It's people who can't cope with their existence as the and the difficulties that they are having. So in their coping is to basically pass the buck, if you will, and try and have some semblance of control and moral high ground by saying other people shouldn't be saying this, they shouldn't be doing this, and then blah blah blah. And I'm
Mhm.
gonna make your life as miserable as my life is
Yeah.
internally, that I may not show to the external. And that's really what all this is about.
Absolutely.
And
Mhm.
feeling like they have some semblance of power in their lives when really they have none, to the modicum degree that we would consider what actual power is in the sense of political, monetary, or so on. These people don't have it. So what kind of power do they get? The power of influence through these cultural, societal things, through the modicum and medium of social media, and they get some semblance of like a political-ish type power because they're supporting a collective idea that other people like them share, that goes directly to a particular, goes towards potential political power of policy that can potentially affect their life, and so that's how they go after it. But
Yeah.
really, they're shells of people, and they're going through all the same shit that we all are, and we should know that on the other side, is that's what it really is.
Mm.
That's what we are all struggling in life to cope with what life will throw at us, and it's difficult, and a lot of us can't cope with it properly. And the problem is, for these people, I wish they would realize having a laugh and a joke, even when it's seemingly grotesque or terrible, is an important part of dealing with life and coping with it. And trying to shut it down, stop it, or stop people who are doing that for others is a terrible, terrible thing, and makes you a worse person if you're trying to do it.
Mm.
They should just try and open up. Don't be close-minded. Think a little and just sit back and just try and laugh along with the rest of us, because otherwise life is terrible.
Yeah.
So,
And sometimes you just need to laugh at it.
exactly. So, yeah, let us know what you think about all that. Some interesting topics we covered today. What did you think about the whole Taylor Lorenz and Libs of TikTok debate? Who was right? Who was wrong? Was it just the same person? Could have been. Who knows? And let us know what you think about Shane Gillis and what we're saying here. It's really important. We would love to hear your thoughts. Please hit the like, subscribe button, all that good stuff if you would like more content from us. Or let us know, because we hope to keep bringing you great stuff, good intellectual conversation with a little bit of humor when and where we can, because we keep enjoying doing this, and we hope you will as well. So let us know what you think, because these are our times, and we're not going to stop talking about them, because we are Men of the Times. And we'll see you next time.